I can email them to all of you. So if you want to form a email group, I can post them all for you. Okay, so I just dumped some buttermilk in.
Like half a quart?
Half of that. So yeah, this is real precise cooking, I'm going to tell you.
I'm an organic chemist, and cooking is the same thing.
Oh yeah.
A little bit of that, a little bit of that.
Well, that's the thing is, it was the hardest thing in the world for me to make a cookbook, only because the way I cooked forever was a little here, a little there. And so my first cookbook, my wife was standing over my shoulder, and she's like, how much did you put in? I said, a glug glug. And she's like, well, how much is a glug glug? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Let's test out a glug glug. So then I would write these recipes, and then I'd have, at the time, my daughter was like 11, 12 years old. She's now 17, going on 35. She would cook these recipes for me so I could make sure they could be followed. So I remember I had a surgery, and one day I had a friend come over to check on me, and I was working on some of these recipes, and I was doing a lemon poppy seed buttermilk cake. And I said to my friend, I said, hey, you want to go outside and check this out? So I'm on crutches and everything else. He said, sure. We go outside there. I opened the Dutch oven expecting to be met by this beautiful risen cake. What I found was this bubbling curd on the bottom with all the poppy seeds all in a collection in the middle. And it was like, and I said to my daughter, I'm like, she was 12 at the time, I said, you messed up. You did something wrong. She's like, no, Dad, look. Everything is on there. So I'm reading through the ingredients. I'm like, eggs, butter, buttermilk, baking soda, baking powder, no flour. I was like, well, that might be something. So what we ended up with was a beautiful lemon curd. Okay, so I did about a pint of buttermilk. I did 4 eggs. I'm going to mix all that stuff up. Okay, and then I'm just going to put some baking soda and baking powder in. This will be about 1.5 teaspoons. I'll actually measure this for you so you can know.
Is that a glug?
Yeah, you know, if you're measuring out when you're at scout camp, you can just dump it in your hand and, you know, about like that, okay? It's about 1.5 teaspoons.
Of each?
Of each, yes. Baking soda, baking powder. Real simple. Ooh, not that much. That was like 3 teaspoons right there. I once made some cookies that got about 4 teaspoons of the baking. I was in Alaska, and everything in Alaska, if it's open and it stays open for more than about 5 minutes, the humidity is so high it just turns it all into a clump. And I was trying to dump in to make some snickerdoodle cookies, and this baking soda went bleh, everywhere. I tried to scrape it all off. Okay, this is Himalayan pink salt. You don't have to use that. I just like the flavor of it. Put about 1 teaspoon in. Himalayan pink salt. Okay. Yes, and it's actually healthier for you too. It's got a sweeter flavor. Okay, then I'm going to dump some sugar. Let's call it 1.5 cups.
How much salt did you put in?
About a teaspoon.
About a teaspoon. I'm diabetic, so I got my insulin pen ready to go. Are they? Okay, that's fine.
Cup and a half.
Okay, so anyway, like I said, I was making these cookies, and it went poof all over, and I was like, oh, I'll fix them. So I tried scraping it off. We went to eat these cookies. First of all, they poofed up like that big. Snickerdoodles are not supposed to do that. And they tasted like a soda can, like a little bit of fat. And I was like, these are disgusting. But I was going on a fishing trip out on a boat, and I thought, you know what, I'll throw them to the sea lions.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, let's call this 3 cups of flour. So
I've heard baking is very precise.
anyhow, so I went to go throw them out to the seagulls and the sea lions and whatever else, but these other guys that were on the boat with me, apparently they have no taste buds, and I've learned that 70% of people actually don't have taste buds. They can't taste little nuances like that. Man, these guys are eating these cookies up, and they're like, man, these are the best dang cookies. I'm like, have at them. I said, you know, I mean, it's like drinking 10 Gatorades. Not much baking soda. You're definitely getting your electrolytes in, for sure. Okay, so it should look like this. Kind of like a thick cake batter. Okay? Now what we're going to do is just take some of these peaches, dump dump them in with the liquid, doesn't matter. Now this one I'm actually going to drain liquid out, so I don't need that much liquid. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these. Here you go. Good thing to use these on the cans I'm using today. Okay. So you want to fill up the bottom of your thing with peaches. All done. All right. Now, here's where it gets really healthy. We're going to take some real butter. We're going to take a full stick of real butter. Now, there's nothing exciting about this. I'm just going to take whatever method I have. I'm going to use a quarter teaspoon. That's what I'm using. And you're just going to chunk it up, throw it in here, however you can. You can cut it with a knife. You can cut it with a fork. Doesn't really matter. The idea is you just want to get it stirred in, big chunks of butter. The reason you want to do that is you're going to give it some little layers and pockets inside there. And butter is so heart healthy, makes you feel good. Yep.
Doesn't hurt the taste either.
You know, it doesn't, and that's the cool thing. You know, I mean, I go to my doctor's for my appointments. Being diabetic, I'm there every 3 months. You know, my total cholesterol is at 72, and my triglycerides are like 30. So, and I like real butter. I'm glad that I got that particular genetic factor. So. Other than that darn being type 1 diabetic, that sucks. Okay, so how many people, raise a hand, think this is a difficult recipe? Difficult to do. The thing about it is, there's nothing really tough about it, okay? And cake mixes are awful. They really are. They're not good. You know, cakes are so easy to make. It's just a basic... Excuse me. Just basic, you got a fat, a flour, a liquid, and sugar, and eggs, and then you have your seasonings, whatever you want to put in it. I mean, it's really simple. Should have used the knife, it would have been a lot quicker. That's okay, we're going to get it cooked anyway. But the reason I'm doing a cobbler, like I said, this is something everybody's familiar with. Everybody's probably done it one point or another. And I'm going to show you how much better doing an actual cobbler is, a southern style cobbler rather than a Scoutmaster cobbler. And also, learning how to cook it right. You notice I did not line my Dutch oven with foil. Okay? Never, ever, ever, ever line your Dutch oven with foil. It's a bad idea. I actually have a friend who owns a company that provides foil liners for Dutch ovens that would never use one himself. But he knows that he has a market for it and people buy them. So, and the reason you don't do that, a lot of people don't understand foil for what it is. Everybody knows if you look at foil, it's got two sides, right? Shiny side, dull side. You know what those are for?
Sticking?
The shiny side is reflecting heat. So if you want something to cook slowly and not burn the heck out of it, you put the shiny side on the outside. So if you're doing a tinfoil dinner, you're really hurting yourself if you put the shiny side inside. You want it on the outside because you're trying to reflect some of that massive amount of heat coming off of your campfire, so you cook it more evenly. Okay, so that's all we'll do there. Now, if you guys want to look at this, you're welcome to. It's nothing too fancy. I just dumped it down in the center. A true cobbler is not just supposed to have peaches on the bottom and kind of all over.
Let's get a picture with the camera here. Looks good there.
Okay. Oh, there's my oven.
You did 100.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get it on there. I start filming it.
These are 29-ounce cans. You can use 29 to 32 ounce, or if you just want to use one number 10 can, just dump about a third of the juice out of it. It's fine. Okay. Oh, sorry. All right. Now for this, we're baking, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to dump the coals out. I'm not grabbing them with my hands now. These are a little beyond that stage.
Mind if I lean on you right here?
But I do have tongs. I did not forget those today. So what I'm going to do is I'm always going to start on the top first. Now it's a little colder of a day today, so I'm going to put a little bit more charcoal on than I normally would for this. Just because you got low barometric pressure and it's a little colder. So, and the sun is definitely not helping us today, keeping this warm. So you notice I'm keeping space between every one of these, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's so I can allow that air to really breathe around it.
And how do you know how many to put on top? Just
It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. If you put less on top, it just takes longer to cook. Put more on top, it cooks quicker. It's like turning your oven to 350 to 375. It actually makes zero difference on what you're cooking. It just cooks quicker. That's all. So now you notice on these, I'm just sitting these right underneath the edge, like that. And this is why, or how you do it when you bake.
So you're putting those about halfway under the edge?
Yeah, halfway under the edge.
kind of back to where the legs are.
Yeah, about that. Like I said, the whole idea is I'm not trying to be precise at all. This is just doing it, you know? Now, there are some recipes, if you're doing creme brulee, you need to be a little bit more precise with things, but I can teach you tricks about that that'll help you along that way, too. So I got a few extra charcoals left, so I'm going to go ahead and try to just use them up because I can. So I'll create a little bit more space here. Okay, so anyway, we were talking about tin foil. So what happens with foil is it reflects the heat. So when you line a Dutch oven with foil, you're reflecting the heat back onto the cast iron, not necessarily into your food. So your charcoal has to work twice as hard to work through your tin foil. And also, if you have any air spaces in between there at all, you heat up the air molecules. Air heats up really quickly. That's why when the sun comes out, it feels so good. The air feels great, even though it's maybe a base temperature cold, or it makes such a difference because air heats up quickly. So whenever you do that, that air heats up between the cast iron and the foil, and you get a superheated spot. And so when you use foil, you almost always burn on those spots. So see, one part, like the rest of your rolls will be fine, and you got one spot that's like burnt all the crisp. It's because you had an air pocket in there. So that's why you don't use foil. Plus, you're not really getting the health benefits when you're using the foil.
So how do you cook salmon then? Do you put bacon on the?
No, and I'm going to show on the advanced class I'm going to be doing salmon. Then the way I do that is I broil it. So I'm going to put it onto a rack, get it up off the bottom a little bit, and put all the heat on the top. I'm going to be using this great big Dutch oven here, and that one's actually for sale. If anybody wants a Gigantor, but that'll be cooking the salmon in it. It's a 16-inch. So anyhow, I'm going to teach people how to use it. Yes.
So for me, I have not really ever used coal. It looked like you just kind of eyeballed to see like if the coal was done. Do you have any like tips on that?
On what? Sorry.
The coal, like knowing when it's ready.
When coal's ready, it stops smoking.
Okay.
Like if it's in the chimney, if it stops smoking, it's ready. If it's got any white on it at all, like this coal right here, that's hot. It only has a little bit of white on it, but it'll cook through. So the more it's open to the air, it'll cook through, no problem.
So are those ones that are just black over there dead? Or not going yet?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
dead. I can hold them like this. So
All right.
you might always have a couple that are dead. You never know. But, you know, we still have plenty enough, and I just guesstimated what I wanted.
I can see the heat.
Yeah,
So with it being as cold as it is today, how long do you expect that to cook?
an hour.
An hour?
Okay, now we can go on to any questions you guys have for a little bit. And I'm going to try to thaw out some pork. I got frozen, so while I'm playing with this meat, I'm happy to answer maybe your questions. What's your website again? It's mountainchefbarbecue.com.
Do you stack?
Yes, and in the advanced class, I will be showing you how to stack. And I might actually do it here if you guys want to see.
Sure.
So,
Do you prefer working off a table instead
absolutely, absolutely, because the ground wants to absorb all your heat into the ground. And so basically all your thermal energy, so this charcoal right here, it has that airspace underneath. It's actually creating an insulator between the ground. So it's only trying to heat up just this table and the cast iron. And because heat rises, it's going to rise up into the cast iron more than it'll heat up the table. If you put it on the concrete, it wants to warm up all the concrete. That's just, thermodynamics. It wants to create an equilibrium of heat all the way across. This big pad of concrete, that's a lot of equilibrium. So it's going to take a majority of that energy trying to heat up that cement before it ever gets into that pot. So you're really not using your heat wisely. Yes?
That's where I use my tin foil, is on the ground against the concrete.
Okay, and that's fine. You do it there. Yeah, that's fine. That's not going to hurt it at all. So because then you're use it shiny side up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and tinfoil is great for that. And tinfoil has its many uses. If you want to cook a baked potato, put the tinfoil to the outside. If you want it to cook a little slower, say you just are doing a dinner and you want it to cook forever. If you want it to cook quicker, you put it on the inside, shiny side inside. It'll cook half the time than if you put it on the outside. And if you're trying to insulate it, you put shiny side in. Yes.
So when you were heating up the coals, you said that you usually don't like to do it that way. What's your preferred way?
I like to use I have a little propane burner, Camp Chef burner, and I just put it on. And normally I bring that to demos, but like I said, I didn't know with this institute building how hard it'd be, and I didn't want another thing. I had to carry all this stuff up from way down there anyway. It sucked. So if I didn't have this little wagon,
You should have fire lane parked for a while. Huh?
What do you think of the Camp Chef dome on the burner?
The Camp Chef domes are great for what they are. If you have the Camp Chef domes are built to put onto a burner. They have a heat diffuser plate that sits on top of the burner, and that's to direct the heat out and around. And then it has an asbestos dome with a metallic liner to reflect that heat back down, covers your Dutch oven. For what they're used for on the Camp Chef stove, I hate them. I don't like them at all because even though they work fairly well, the thing about Camp Chef stoves is they have two different temperatures. They have either the molten hot lava or the fiery pits of hell. So it tends to be a little bit much to cook with. So if you could temper that down even further, it'd work great. What I do love those domes for is when it's a crappy day, it's snowing and whatever else, I just throw it over this while I'm cooking. It works great. I use them a lot. I've got a lot of them.
The dome
over the charcoals, yeah. Works great. If you got wind, it works incredibly well. So they are a good tool for what they are. So, but as far as cooking on the stovetop,